Hello, hello. Welcome to this OllyGarden live stream. My name is Jurasi Pachankroning. I'm a software engineer and I'm also the CEO and co-founder here at OllyGarden. On our conversation today, and it is 3:02 here in Berlin, so we are on time. Um, on this conversation here today, I would like to show you a little bit about rows, and I'm not alone. We have here as well Nico. Nico is also one of our engineers working on rows, and Nico's going to do a demo for y'all. But before we start, I'd like to make a quick recap on what we've seen last week. And I think I'm gonna call Nico also to join the recap of last week. So let me call Nico in, and Nico can introduce yourself as well. But there you go. Cool. Hi, Nico.
Hello, everyone. Nice to be here today, and I'm really looking forward for the session.
Yeah, Nico, we had a wonderful week last week at KubeCon, and it actually started almost 2 weeks ago, right? So it started on Saturday for some of us. It started on by flying in there, and then we had a conversation already with a few people. Even on Saturday, we had Maintainer Summit, so day -1 on Sunday, and Observability Day on Monday, and KubeCon proper started on Tuesday, finished on Thursday. Now, I think this has been a very interesting KubeCon to me, very different and the same at the same time. So many things were the same. But I think one of the things that I heard a lot, Nico, and I think you might agree, is people are excited about what we are doing at OllyGarden, and
hmm
people get even more excited when we mention how we are how we are tackling the problem of bad telemetry. So we are finding bad telemetry on one hand, and we are fixing bad telemetry on the other hand. Before we go there, before we talk about the solutions that we are providing within OllyGarden, what are the highlights to you when it comes to KubeCon? What are the things that you enjoyed the most at this KubeCon?
So for me, first of all, one thing which I really enjoy always when we have those kind of events is that I get to see most of my colleagues from OllyGarden, but also from the open source community in person. Like maybe the people out there know that we're a remote first company, so everybody of us is in kind of a different part of the world, or at least in a different part of the country. And at KubeCon, we really had the possibility to meet each other, to exchange with our users, to exchange with other members from the community, and that's really what I enjoyed a lot this time.
Nice.
Besides of that, also for me, it was the first time at a booth. This time at KubeCon. Before that, I was only as an attendee there, and yeah, it was a very, very different experience, but I enjoyed it. So we had a lot of conversations, a lot of great feedback, a lot of great conversations about AI agents, about OpenTelemetry, and all sort of interesting things.
Nice. And I think one thing that I saw as well, at least what made it very special to me, of course, the booth. The booth was beautiful. Thank you everyone who worked on that. So Erika, Carla also helped a little bit. Leandro did a great job on the design part. And I think, of course, the booth was awesome, and the conversations we had at the booth were better than I expected. I should be honest, because I was expecting more, perhaps. I think this is the impression from previous KubeCons. I wasn't expecting like more superficial conversations, perhaps, but it was very, very deep technical. People attending the booth, they were really into the problem space that we are. So we were able to get very, very deep into the how things work and what our vision is and so on. But I think what I also enjoyed were the conversations before even KubeCon, before the booth was open. So we talked to a few OllyGarden users. I remember on Observability Day, I think it was, it was even before that. I think it was the Maintainer Summit that one of OllyGarden users came to us and said, "Oh, you're marketing around, so you promise to give me a report after 1 week of you sending data to OllyGarden. So we promise that we are gonna see things that we care about 1 week, and this is not true at all." And I was kind of caught by surprise. What do you mean? It's not true? Yeah, we onboarded, and almost immediately we saw insights. So we didn't have to wait for 1 week. And I think this is the kind of feedback that it is so good to have, talking to our users at a space where we can have those longer conversations. So that was very good, very, very, very good.
And one thing I would like to call out, but I was really surprised and impressed by the quality of the organization of the event itself, like the food and the overall organization. And my experience was really, really good this time. Like kudos to the team, to the CubeCon team who organized the event.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think we all wear different hats when we are at KubeCon, right? So you wear the hat of an OpenTelemetry contributor, KubeCon speaker, and OllyGarden employee. I also wear different hats there. OpenTelemetry Governance Committee. At this time, I was also the chair for the observability track. For the observability day co-located event, together with my friends Austin and Eduardo. And I think that is something that KubeCon offers as well, like being able to act in many capacities there at the event. And I saw the same that you saw, like the organization there is tremendous. People doing, there's a lot of people working on that, like people helping in reviewing the proposals, people doing last minute changes. So I was at the airport picking up my luggage, and then Juliano Costa from Datadog, he sent me a message saying, "Oh, I just got selected for observability day, like the day before." And he was there, right? And turns out, as far as I know, his session is one of the most attended sessions at observability day. So congratulations to Juliano as well.
Yeah, I was in that session actually, and it was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I think the numbers, I think all the numbers are going to be shared later, but as a co-chair, one of the things that I saw was it is one of the top attended sessions. I'm not sure if I can share the actual numbers, but it is one of it is among the top, right? So I think this is one thing that I can say. But Nico, one thing that I was very excited. I was exhausted after that week. I took the whole weekend basically to just hibernate. But I think one thing that I heard quite often last week was Rose, right? So we mentioned Rose to a few people, and they got interested in what we were doing. I'll let you do the same demos that we were having at KubeCon, so you can show people what we are doing with Rose. But before that, I would like to mention a couple of things. So first one is we had the Rose quiz at the booth. And we are going to make the Rose quiz open on the website to anyone who wants to take the quiz. We're going to take the quiz on perhaps even this afternoon. I don't know if I remember. I can just make the quiz available this afternoon for people. But I think that the second thing is the way that we view Rose is something that people can relate. One of the common concerns that we hear from observability engineers is, how can I scale my knowledge of OpenTelemetry? I know OpenTelemetry, I know what to do. I know that there's a lot of bad telemetry out there, but how can I fix it? And how can I get those documents that we have, like the best practices documents, how can we have them done by the thousands of developers that we have? When we tell them, you don't have to teach all of your developers, you can have one developer in each one of your development squads being the OpenTelemetry expert, being your liaison there, and that developer is named Rose, then they get caught by surprise. Like this is the framing that we are doing for Rose. That really is true. So Rose is a senior software engineer that every developer team can have on their squads. And that developer, Rose, is an expert in OpenTelemetry. It knows when to use each signal. So is it a log? Is it a span? Is it a metric? How should I name it? And what are the semantic attributes, or what are the attributes that I should care about, and so on. So this removes the need to scale the knowledge of OpenTelemetry. Of course, the more knowledge, the better. But one thing we saw is, I'm a software engineer myself. There are things that I don't like about like topics. I like security, but I don't like thinking about security all the time. And of course, I've done things wrong when it comes to security over the time. Same for tests, right? So I like thinking about solving the solutions, not in breaking my code, even though I do like breaking code. But at the same time, telemetry. I like doing telemetry. I like to think about the possible scenarios where I might need telemetry, but not everybody likes that. And rows can take care of that aspect of the job. And people enjoyed this this refreshed view of instrumentation. You don't have to do eBPF instrumentation anymore. You don't have to fish with a fishing net. Is that the right term for that? You can have rows to do the instrumentation, like purposeful, intentional instrumentation, as we've been preaching, and it can do it automatically. So it's the best of the two roads to me.
So one thing which I would like to add here, which got really myself excited and also really resonated with me when I spoke to some people at the KubeCon about rows, more from the DevOps and SRE perspective who were working in that field. Very often I hear that sentence like, yeah, we know we want to have manual instrumentation. We know that we need some sort of additional instrumentation here, but often software engineers or in general developers are so occupied with other things that they just focus on getting the task done, and instrumentation or observability often falls short. And kind of like a time management perspective, that it's very hard to get good instrumentation applied to the source code. And the thing which makes me personally really excited about rows, because I, in my earlier life, was also working as a DevOps engineer previously, and I know that this is like a challenging topic when you interact in bigger teams. And the reason why I'm really excited about rows is that rows combines that. So on one side, like Gerasi mentioned, rows will be that software engineer who helps to go that last step to apply the instrumentation. You know that you need something, but you don't have time to manually check out the repo to apply it for you. So rows can help you with that. And at the same time, rows will also tell you, okay, you might want to change the instrumentation which is in place here. Or there's maybe some relevant context which is not instrumented yet at all. You might want to add some additional manual instrumentation here. And that's really interesting for me to see that on two sides. We on one side give recommendations based on the source code, and at the same time we give actual possibilities to apply instrumentation autonomously.
Yep. So what can we expect from rows? What can rows do? And what can rows and what is still not in rows capabilities? So can you show us a little bit there?
All right, so I would share my screen and just start off showing a few things about rows. And by the way, if anybody is watching the session here and you want to try out rows on your own account in GitHub, so right now we are focused on GitHub. You can just sign up your OllyGarden account and you will log into the OllyGarden dashboard, and then it should kind of look similar like here. So I'm here in my second account, which I prepared as part of the demo here. And then here on the left, you will see a new tab in our UI, which is called instrumentation. And that's where you will get started with rows. So I already onboarded rows in my repositories. Out of the box, you can onboard 3 repositories for free if you want to get started and just play around with rows. And in that case, I've been starting playing around with a small demo app, which I prepared, which has some very bad instrumentation at some places to kind of show what rows will detect. And I also had a look at the OTel demo, where I found some interesting things. But usually you start with onboarding rows in your GitHub organization or in your repositories. And then you can select out of the repositories where you want to use rows. And then when you head over to the repos out of the box, you will not see anything. So you have the option here in the top right to start a review. And what will happen after that is that rows takes a look at your code base and looks if there's any instrumentation applied. And if yes, it reviews the instrumentation to tell you, okay, you're maybe doing some things there which could be improved. Or it also looks at the business context of your code to tell you there may be some parts of your instrumentation or of your code base which are not instrumented yet. You might want to add something. So it's like a review or a scan about the whole code base, what you will get with rows. And after the scan and the review was completed, you will get an overview about what rows found in terms of instrumentation as a short description in that repository here. So in that case, it's a Go HTTP server, which is using the OTel SDK version 1.3.9. And it's mentioning a few things about the instrumentation as a summary, what was detected. What I personally really like is that we give an overview about the instrumentation metadata. So we are showing, okay, in that code base, we are instrumenting with traces and metrics. In that case, we're using auto and manual instrumentation, and these are the dependencies which are used. So this is kind of the overview about the repo. And then down here, after the first run of rows, we will see some interesting things. And like I mentioned, that code base here is a little, not a good example for instrumentation. So you better don't look at that code base if you want to learn about good instrumentation. But what we can see here is Rose found a couple of things which we probably want to change, such as different or inconsistent attributes in order ID and card ID as an example here. And then when we click on a finding, we will get a detailed overview about the actual finding with a description. And down here, we have the option to review what Rose would fix and how Rose would fix that problem. And we even have the option to automatically trigger that fix. I will do that right now. So I want to apply the suggestion by Rose. And now it will take a few moments, and Rose will start having a look at the repository, checking out the code, applying the changes, and then raising a PR for us, which a human should always review. So we always advocate that the changes Rose is opening as a pull request should be reviewed by the observability or the software engineer, and then we are able to fix those findings which were detected by Rose. So if we head over here, we will now see the fix is in progress, and it should finish in a couple of minutes. One of the features which I really like and which are one of my favorite is that we also decided to bake those information which we see in the OllyGarden UI. We bake those information into the GitHub repository itself. So when I head over to the test account here, I will see the demo app, which I was demonstrating a few moments ago. And then we see an issue here. And that issue is an OpenTelemetry instrumentation dashboard. So you might have seen that before, but the idea of that is similar, like you can keep track of your dependencies. This dashboard serves as an overview about your instrumentation in GitHub itself, so that it's really close to your source code. And when software engineers are working on fixes or working on changes, you will always have that close to wherever you added your code. And you will find similar or almost the same information in here. And yeah, you can see that the PR was already raised now for the finding which we had. And the cool thing is you also have the option to trigger the fixes from here. So as an example, if I want to avoid that we write the raw payment token to these ban attributes, I can also just go here, click the checkbox, and then Rose will be started again to fix that for us in a PR, which should be there in a couple of moments. Rose itself has two options when it runs. On one side, it will run on a manual basis, so you can trigger once every 24 hours on demand that Rose has a look at your code base. For example, if you had a bigger new feature where you want to have a double check on your instrumentation and you just merged it to main, you can tell Rose, please review that. Or if not, Rose will have a look at your code base right now every 3 days and update the instrumentation dashboard based on the findings every time it was finding something relevant for you. So if we have a look at the pull request here, we can see 1 minute ago, another PR was raised with the fix here. So we have another description about the issue and what was changed. And then the actual changes, where we see that it now streamlined the attributes to be consistent across the code base and not to use different kind of attributes in the same code base. And yeah, so the other execution, I believe right now is still in progress. If we head over to the UI, we should see that, yeah, it's still in progress here. So it will take a couple of moments. And the way we recommend or the way we envision is that the UI provides more context, a bit more information, makes it easier to navigate around. So usually the observability engineers who work on a lot of different repos and want to have a look at the instrumentation there would probably go here into the UI and manage rows via our OllyGarden platform. And really the software engineers who are close to the source code can stay completely in GitHub and use rows from there. And yeah, that's the current state of Rose. We already know that Rose will evolve and bloom even more in the future. So we got some really good feedback at the KubeCon with things we plan to add soon. And yeah, we're really excited about Rose. We announced it last week. So as I mentioned, if you're interested in trying it out, please sign up, create your account. We will enable your installation after you onboarded Rose, and then you can fix some bad telemetry with Rose.
I guess I wasn't questions.
Yeah.
I have one other comment before we move to the questions. And if people have questions, just right now here, if you are on LinkedIn, I need one moment to open the live stream on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn not always shows the things here on this platform that we use. So let me open that. But before we move there, what is the most requested feature? Let me take the screen out here. What is the most requested feature that we've heard from KubeCon? Like, what is the one thing we need to add to rows the moment that people are saying, you know what, I can only use rows if you implement this? What is this?
I think one thing which I heard very often was that we additionally also support GitLab. So as I mentioned in the beginning, right now we're focused on GitHub, which is used by most of the folks out there, but GitLab was really mentioned a lot of times at the KubeCon. So that's something we are right now actively looking into, and we are confident that soon that will also be available. And then the other thing which I heard a couple of times was, which is something I want as well privately for us internally at OllyGarden, is that it's possible to configure custom rules for rows. So for example, that I could go to my repos or an organization level for all my repositories, where I define some internal conventions which we have, such as a particular attribute or the usage of a particular SDK, and then we will be able to steer rows to rely on those instructions. And that's also something we are right now working on, and yeah, I hope that we soon have it available for everybody.
Yeah, and perhaps to explain a little bit about the last one, what we have right now is a 3 layers of knowledge as part of rows. So the big part of the brain of rows is the base LLM, so the base models. So we take off-the-shelf models there for the moment, things like Opus, Gemini, and Codex, or GL what? Anyway, so the models off the shelf there. And on top of that, we give a thin layer of OpenTelemetry. So we teach those models what is the up-to-date information about OpenTelemetry, which APIs and SDKs there are, how to use them, how to initialize them, HotelConf, Weaver, like those things, they are knowledge slots that we add to the model. And you can imagine those as cartridges from the Matrix, from the movie Matrix, right? So suddenly Neo gets like the plug, and suddenly he says, "I know Kung Fu." Like this is what we add to the models. So we teach the models OpenTelemetry as it should be. The models, they have an idea of OpenTelemetry, but that typically is months old knowledge or years old knowledge, right? So my favorite example is whenever I see deployment.environment, I know it's an old model. So it should be deployment.environment.name. So this is the second layer of knowledge. So the first one is the base model knowledge, which is very good. It's very good at doing Go code. It's very good at doing Java code, Python, and so on. So it knows how to do the basic things, or the base level things that we needed to do. And then we add this OpenTelemetry knowledge. And I think this is the knowledge that you are working on with upstream as well, right? So you and Pavel, I heard that you all have a repository with the skills there. This is part of the knowledge that we have for rows. And on top of that, we have a OllyGarden opinions, or rows opinions, or rows difference between, or enhancements with on top of OpenTelemetry. So should I use a trace? Should I use a metric? Should I use a log here? How should I name them? Which attributes to use, and so on. So this is the OllyGarden level knowledge, and based on experience and based on the opinions that we have. And the one thing that makes me very excited about rows, so those are the 3 layers that we have there, and then the custom rules would be like the 4th layer on top of that, right? So the company and company/repository level knowledge that we can add on top of those things. And I think the one thing that makes me very excited about this development is we are living 2026. And a few years ago, we didn't have access to the tooling that we have today. So we had to resort to things like auto-instrumentation. So we had to resort to things that would capture way more telemetry than we needed, and that brought a lot of inefficiencies. So we had to resort to all of the workarounds to manage that at scale, like tail sampling or even sampling in general, not necessarily only tail sampling. And I think if we can then instrument things only with the things that we need, if we can make really purposeful and intentional instrumentation with rows, perhaps, but not only, of course. I mean, rows is only the tooling here to execute on that. Then that means we can then, in some situations, perhaps most of the situations, we don't have to think about sampling anymore, right? I think this is what makes it very exciting to me.
And one additional thing which I would like to call out here is that the challenge about leveraging coding agents for instrumentation or for OpenTelemetry is that instrumentation affects usually the whole code base. And as the people know who work more closely with coding agents, is that coding agents are only able or capable of understanding a certain part of a code base until they reach their context window or their context limit. And what we are doing with Rose is that Rose is like that master orchestrator about a lot of specialized sub-agents which are focused on different opinions and knowledge we have about OTel. So the really cool thing is that Rose will be able to navigate across also bigger code bases without major problems, because we steer Rose to navigate that easily for us.
Yeah, so there is a question. So I do have to leave in 2 minutes, but there is a question here in the chat from Bernardo. The OTel layer to fit the models, is it not only for internal knowledge background, but also public trustable sources like logs itself? You can answer that, Nico.
Yes, and the answer to it is yes. So as Teresi mentioned, we are having like our OpenTelemetry knowledge base, which we have internally, and the learnings about OTel and what works well for coding agents, we are adding back to a skill, which is open source right now. It lives in a private repo of mine, but we are working on contributing it to the OTel project. And the way it works is that we are basically referencing certain best practices, which we are able to find in the documentation. So for example, we have some references to the semantic conventions in there. And that's really the idea that, yeah, Rose and also in general coding agents rely on those information.
Wonderful, nice. All right, so I think we were able to show you all our vision about Rose, why we think Rose is a better approach to the approaches that people were taking in 2022, 2023, 2024. I think the 2026 version of technology is so awesome. It's so wonderful that we can do so much, and we can have such a better telemetry today than what we could have done yesterday. Rose provides all the background, all the knowledge that we've been acquiring over the years, and things that we've been learning as well after we started OllyGarden as well. So we are seeing telemetry in different shapes, different formats, and we are adapting Rose based on what we are seeing in production as well. If you want to try it out, Rose, so OllyGarden.app, go there, OllyGarden.app, sign up for OllyGarden Insights. Then you click on Instrumentation tab, and from there, you can let Rose guide you through installing to your GitHub account. For the moment, we are taking a conservative approach, so we are manually approving installations there. So it is free for up to 3 repositories of your own. If you need more, get in touch with us. We have people using the repository. We have people interested in Rose for hundreds of repositories already. So we know that Rose is capable of scaling. We just need to make sure that it is scalable in the pricing side as well. So that's why we are being a little bit conservative in approving people to use Rose for the free plan. But it is available. It's there. Go there, request the installation, and we're going to manually review and approve your access.
One last thing which I would like to add is that if you try out Rose, we would love to hear your feedback, what went well, what maybe wasn't ideal for you, because it's still in very early phase for Rose, and we want to do everything in order to make it better for you. So whenever you have something, please reach out on LinkedIn or wherever you will find us.
That's it. Thank you very much, folks. Thank you very much, Nico, for demoing Rose here. And if you have any questions, let us know. Send us a message on LinkedIn or email or whatever you can find us, either me or Nico. We're very happy to answer your questions. And see you next time.